Hello, everyone watching. Thank you for coming to the Microwave Extravaganza podcast. Unfortunately, a lot of our guests had canceled, but we're still going to go on. Unfortunately, Shane Killian couldn't show up, and nor could Esoteric Entity, which really sucks. Sorry, guys, I just ate. Yeah, but we're still going to go and do it as I said. I'm going to try to teach Europeans as much as possible as they can about how to resist Article 13 if it does come to pass. The reason why is because I feel that no matter what, we have to be able to ensure that people are able to live freely. And having a destructive law like this passed by the USSR of modern times, i.e., the European Union, is just simply not okay. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, I'm going to pull up the actual article itself, so give me a second. I just need to pull it up because I have it saved here. And then I'm going to screen share very, very fast. I'm just going to go into my history. Hold on. Just need to... Sorry, guys, I know. It's must be a little bit annoying to wait. All right. Here we go. Now, Article 13. Wait. Here we go. Now, this is from the EU's actual website, so let me just show you. Access to European Union law is what we're going to be doing. Now, I'm going to screen share with you guys and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So, here we go. Okay. Now, here's what it is, guys. Okay, so let's scroll down. Let's scroll down all the way down here. Now, Directive of the European Parliament and Council, and yes, and digital copyright, single market, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is explanatory memorandum. So essentially, this is where we're just going to be talking about what it is. Here's the supposed context of the proposal. Now, this is essentially an MP's way of bullshitting you into believing that this will somehow help people. So without further ado, I'm going to start reading. The evolution of digital technologies has changed the way it works and other protected subject matter are created, produced, distributed, and exploited. New users have emerged, as well as actors, new business models. In the development of the digital age, cross-border uses have also intensified, and new opportunities for consumers to access copyrighted protected content have materialized. What does this really mean so far, guys? Well, they're just telling us that the primary purpose, at least the one that they want you to believe, is that this is supposed to help with copyright material. Well, first off, protecting copyrights is very hard as it is. You have to actually prove that something has been copyrighted and isn't transformative or a criticism, or at least isn't being credited. This is something that YouTube has not only a hard time, but is dead near impossible to enforce. So I want you to remember that before we move on. I want you to remember that. And as you're going to see, the type of power that it gives them, the European Union, which is an unelected bureaucracy is what it is, that essentially lords over sovereign nations like Britain, France, Poland, Germany. The type of power they're going to give you that we would give them if we said yes to this would never protect anybody. Now, continuing on, even though the objectives and principles laid down by the European Union copyright framework remain sound, there is a need to adapt it to these new realities. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of a hint. First off, let's talk about what they're talking about. First off, they're talking about giving new context. Hold on, I just want to make sure of something. Oh, yep, still just me. I believe Donovan Warland and Broken Hearted Liberal are going to show up very soon. Anyway, For most of human history that we've had communications and copyrighted work, what governments have done is primarily lord over these things to a ridiculous degree. Think about this. There's always been a huge criticism of how unoriginal TV was for the longest time until the internet came around. The criticisms didn't exactly stop being believed. They just kind of didn't get talked about as much because Netflix had become the premier place to find all of your content. So essentially, when TV was trying to say the internet is unpredictable, you shouldn't be watching content on there, it fell on deaf ears, and eventually TV had to suck it up. Now, the thing is, television was controlled. And you know that because when the radio waves and electronic signals that go through the air from a studio in California all the way to your television sets anywhere in America, you know that there's already the FCC that could go to these physical places and shut it down if they did something they didn't like. The internet is so diverse in what it's able to provide you that we know that these let's just be honest, these are essentially aristocracy. These people cannot enforce any kind of law upon us. So the idea that this would ever help anything is ridiculous. Now, the reason why I mentioned that is because look at what we used to have on YouTube. Now, I'm sure many of us can remember some of the ridiculous memes that were happening, but watch what I do when I pull up the trending page. Now, okay, sorry, this is my page, guys, but I'm just gonna quickly go here. Hold on, YouTube. I can't believe they don't have. Oh, here we go. Trending. Now, look what's trending here. The Daily Show. Of course, some movie that nobody cares about. Ariana Grande, decent enough. React channel, which has primarily YouTube-approved content. I mean, look at this. Holiday movies, teens, kids react to. That's all it really is. Vanessa Hudgens does tongue twisters. Very, very safe. Last YouTuber standing wins 1,000. Very, very safe content. Not very interesting or original. The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, which, you know, Jimmy Fallon is a hell of a lot funnier than Jimmy Kimmel. I'll say that much. I like Jimmy Fallon's personality, but even that, I don't watch it that often. And when I do, it's usually on YouTube at most. Cardi B, Carpool Karaoke, a Late Show with James Corden. Again, these are things that are clearly 90% television. Watch what happens live with Andy Cohen. Again, all television. Sure, there's something from Netflix, but that's about it. NFL, you know, sports I can understand, but still. In defense, so Casey Neistat, you know, YouTube's premier sellout, in defense of Rewind. You know, and by the way, that's actually Casey Neistat right there. I mean, he is literally one of the people in the Rewind video. What would be surprising if he said the case against the Rewind video. That would surprise me. But I'm sure none of us are surprised that a man who has just been shown to be paid to be in said video would defend it. Dude, perfect Christmas bad joke telling. Oh, it sounds cancerous as it is. Cooking, understandable, but not really interesting at all. Cinema Sins, I am legit surprised they even were able to make it in here. I'm going to cut that off this trending page in a little bit, guys. I just wanted to show you. So, trending is supposed to be, well, what it says. Look, okay, Ryan Reynolds, Aviation Gin. All of these things are extremely safe. Now, I'm just going to quickly go to one of these pages. Let's go to The Daily Show, because I know it was up here somewhere. Where was it? Okay. The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. Now, I want you to look at this. 4.1 million subscribers. Okay. Now, let's look at something more controversial. Let's look at something that will make you, a guy I think we've all heard of before who said nigger live on air. 76,000 subscribers, including me. You guys should all subscribe to PewDiePie. T-Series is boring, uninteresting, unoriginal. Don't subscribe to T-Series. The king of YouTube is right here. Okay? Bitch lasagna, hell yeah. Now, let's think about that. Now, even better, let's look at the actual rewind video. YouTube rewind, 2018. This is just for context. I'll get back to Article 13 pretty soon. Now, first person. Before we even begin, YouTube Rewind, as you probably know, is to rehash all the things that happened that were important in YouTube over the year.
It's rewind time.
Now I'm gonna quickly do a little test. Does Will Smith have his own YouTube channel? Does Will Smith have his Oh wow, he actually does. Although almost nobody watches it. Look at this. It's only 4 million. Seriously. He is not someone that people regularly talk about in YouTube. Ever. He's not a YouTuber. He's a Hollywood actor.
Yeah, if I control rewind, I would want Fortnite and Marquez Brownlee.
Is this what you wanted?
You know who I would have asked for?
Quit horsing around! Play me some of that jumping music. Okay. You said jumping music?
Jumping music.
Todo el mundo, fuera!
Now, the reason why I wanted to skip a little bit ahead is I want to show you who's next up here.
Agora vamos fazer o remix, vai!
Are you riding? Say you never ever leave from beside me. 'Cause I want you and I need you and I'm down for you always.
Trevor Noah. Let me show you something. Actually, I don't have to show you it, guys, because I'll be taking forever if I do. We all know Trevor Noah's show, The Daily Show, shot down in popularity for a very, very long time, and it is still declining in popularity. Trevor Noah is not a YouTuber. He's not an individual content creator. The Daily Show has never been about YouTube, but we have him. And he's doing that stupid, I don't know how to dance. This is how you dance when you don't have skills kind of dance. Like, look at this. Look at this. Hold on. Yeah, seriously, like this is how you dance, like when you don't know how to dance. Look. See, look, it's literally hip forward, arms back, arms forward, hip back. That is what you call lazy dancing. And of course, John fucking Oliver. HBO shill, who's grabbing his dick and having a loser sign while dancing as white as humanly possible. No, seriously. Like, first off, nobody dances like that. Second off, if you do, you need a vasectomy immediately, just so you can't reproduce. Look at him. This is who YouTube is supposedly promoting. Now, the reason why I want to talk about with Article 13 is simple. Corporate television. is what the EU has always been used to. Always. All this is useless. The internet is the Wild West of the world. Look at this. Despite the fact that digital technologies should facilitate cross-border access to works and other subject matter, obstacles remain, in particular for use and works where clearance of rights is complex. This is the case for cultural heritage institutions wanting to provide online access, including cross-borders out-of-commerce works contained. That's a word salad. They don't do that on accident, by the way. They do that on purpose. Now, let me just check Twitter. Oh, by the way, follow me on Twitter, at RCOnAngel. You get the chance to. I'm sure you guys will like it. John Tigan, nice. So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. See, look at what this says. Digital technologies facilitate cross-border is blah, blah, blah. Obstacles remain, in particular, are the use for clearance where rights is complex. This is the case for cultural heritage institutions wanting to provide cultural heritage institutions. In other words, if you offend me because I have the wrong culture, you're not allowed to talk. The evolution, I'm just going to skip that whole paragraph. The evolution of digital technologies has led to the emergence of new business models that reinforced the role of the internet as the main marketplace of distribution and access to copyright protected material and content. In this new framework, right holders face difficulties when seeking a license, seeking to license their rights and re-unmoderated. So in other words, uncontrolled and unbastardized, and be re-unmoderated for online distribution of their works. Let's just think about that. Their arguments, at best, is that the purpose of Article 13 is that the internet is where everyone's free to do essentially whatever they want to. And you can make memes out of everything. And you can't have a death grip over what people are allowed to say because you might get sued for saying it in the wrong context. There are already many ways of being able to be paid online without having to use copyright laws. One of those ways is Patreon. The idea that only donors get to see it when it first comes out, whatever that content might be. An idea is not something you can keep to yourself. It spreads like wildfire. Now, that's the argument for this. Essentially, this whole long word salad, if you just read little pieces of it, and if you want the full address, the address is right here. This is the address right here, guys. Feel free to copy and paste that into your own browsers. That's what it essentially says. That's their argument. Now, consistency with existing policies and provisions into the area. First off, let's be honest. The EU has openly let in people from foreign nations that... What the... Oh, yo, what's up? Oh, I thought I must be hearing shit. Oh my god, I need to get my ears checked. I thought someone else is on for a sec. Okay. The digital single market strategy puts forward, by the way, in case you're wondering what the term single market means, that means single payer. That means one option, as in you have one place you can get all your stuff from. The digital single market strategy puts forward a range of initiatives with the objective of creating an internal market for digital content services. Again, if you want to know how most politicians get away with what they do, they have giant Hegelian word salads like this. Like, I want you to read this one time and tell me if you would talk to your best friend like this. Like, not because it's rude, but because you think he might or might not understand what you're saying. Would anyone talk like to someone else like this? Because if someone talked like that to me, I'm like, okay, shut up and say what you mean. Don't jump around it. Don't add in tons of verbiage. Say what you really mean. Initiatives with the objective of creating an internal market for digital content services. This basically means that the government wants to organize the market. I know many people try to weasel their way around this, and the reason why there's so much verbiage here is so that way you can play little word games to get around that. But this literally says the, meaning singular, the digital single market strategy, literally says single right there, meaning the one port of getting your information out there, puts forward a range of initiatives. In other words, a whole bunch of rules with the objective of creating an internal market for digital content services. A controlled market for everything you do online. In December 2015, a first step has been undertaken by the adoption by the Commission of a proposal for regulation of the European Parliament. So, literally, the adoption of a commission of a proposal. Nobody talks like this in real life. Not even lawyers. They never talk to each other like this. Lawyers would look each other in the face and be like, no, shut up and say what you really mean. But the part you have to look here is regulation of the European Parliament, meaning only a certain amount of people can talk. Adoption of a commission. The commission that will regulate the EU Parliament. And a council on ensuring cross-border portability online content. It's in the markets. Essentially, this is all one group of unelected bureaucrats will control everything. All right, guys, let's go down to this. So now that's just basically them saying the bullshit that's already legal for the EU to screw you over with is now legal when it comes to Article 13. Now, let's see. Legal basis, subsidiarity, and proportionality. So, in other words, how well can we enact this? The proposal is based on Article 1.4 TFEU. Is the article? This article confers on the European Union the power to adopt measures which have as their object the establishment and functioning of internal markets. This is a word you need to constantly look for. Whenever you hear it in context, because it's meant to sound open-ended, it's meant to sound bizarre. It's not something that they want you to really understand the meaning of. They don't want you to understand what exactly they're talking about. That's why they won't say single market system. They will say internal markets. You'll see that, and every time you look at the context, it will explain a lot of what they're saying. It's a very Hegelian thing to do, and if you don't know who Hegel is, he's a philosopher, if you even want to call him that essentially created the Hegelian dialectic. What is that? What's a way of determining quote-unquote truth? It's nothing more than A plus B equals C, and you can fill in whatever the hell you want for all three. No, I'm not even kidding. If you actually break down what the Hegelian dialectic actually says, it's literally just fill in the blank with whatever you like. You know, A plus B equals C. but it runs on forever. His book is nonsensical. His ideas are nonsensical. Overall, you can really tell that whatever Hegel is saying, he's taking forever, just like Dugin or Solinsky or Rothbard. They take forever to say what they really mean in order to sound smarter than they really are. It's actually kind of pathetic. But regardless, and Rothbard is probably the one I respect the most out of all of them, because I like non-authoritarians. And respect to the OG of anarchism, even though I'm a minarchist. Online distribution of copyrighted protected content is by essence cross-border. Yes. Notice how they'll always tell people, well, this is copyrighted. Now, this is just essentially a way of just saying we can police what we care about. The results of ex post evaluations, stakeholder or consultations, and impact assessments. In other words, evaluations, this ex post part, you will have to submit your work to a bureaucrat first before it can be put online. Stakeholder consolations. Let's really quickly be really brutally honest about what that is. Stakeholder. That's a person who owns the right to something. Consolations, meaning you would have to litigate in a court if this person has the right to post a Pepe meme. No, I'm not even kidding. This is what they want to do. Now, I think you guys know this. A lot of laws are Trojan horses. And this is nothing short of that. We know this. There's no need to litigate a meme. It's literally just a joke that people all recognize online. That's it. Stakeholder to copyrighted material. What kind of materials do you usually find on the internet? Tons of memes. One of my favorites, and I'm going to pull it up just because I love these guys so much. One of my favorites content creators are the creators of Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. It is a hilarious parody of the Hellsing anime show. By the way, Hellsing comes from the Van Helsing story that involves Dracula. You should know. Most people already know this. They know this. They know this very, very well. Most stories are adaptations. Look. Hold on. Let me see. Disney remakes. Look at this. Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, The Jungle Book. Okay. Pete's Dragon. Okay. 101 Dalmatians. Race to Witch Mountain. Freaky Friday. Never cared about that. Parent Trap. But whatever. You can clearly see even in just this year alone. Well, look at this. Milef. How the hell do you even? It's Maleficent. That's what it should be called. Maleficent. Maleficent. Okay. Tangled. That's again the Rapunzel story. All these stories, all of them, are remakes, and Disney did not make these movies. He did not make the original stories themselves. Aladdin is based on an urban legend. Maleficent was a book that was privately held for years. Tangled, same thing. Sure, Brave was original. All these things, all of them are remakes. All of them are material that, if you really want to get down to it, nowadays would be called copyrighted. And you know what happens? Disney happily, like that, remakes them again and again and again and again and again. Disney, the multi-million-dollar corporation, shall never be hurt by this. Now, I want to show you guys this. This is hilarious. This is funny as shit. Not that. That's cringy. That's ugly. And that's annoying as hell. I can't skip it. I can't skip this ad because I don't have ad block. Okay, here we go. Episode 1.
This is the story about a world of adventure, a sea full of excitement, and a man full of dreams, and a passion that seeks to drive him to the top.
My name is Monkey D. Luffy, and I'm going to be king of the...
That's a dark transition.
Oh, yes. I love you, Edward.
And I love you, Bella. Hold on. Who is it? Oh, you know. A real fucking vampire.
Now, just from the beginning alone, you can tell this is a parody. Nothing about this is serious whatsoever. And sure, they're using other people's material, but if you look at the way they edit it, all the sound design, some of the things that they put into the actual footage itself, how much they would have to understand the fandom, and how much this actually promotes the original Hellsing. Like, because I actually saw this parody before I watched the anime. Do you get where this is going? Doing these things increases the profit margins of the people they would supposedly be ripping off, quote unquote, for copyright material. Now, I'm just going to skip to one of my favorite parts.
Going to miss it. Going on.
Everywhere!
Oh, you are just a treat. Now I know what you're thinking. How did Wood die? You still ain't not going for. No. Well, that whole shooting will fine. All eviscerated only because you got
On a walk through the forest at midnight.
Yep,
You killed a homicidal vampire priest,
dead.
and then you turned someone into a vampire who happened to be a
Big-titted police girl. Yes, like I didn't just get through explaining this. Now, if you don't mind, I've got things to do.
What things? You don't do things.
Yes, I do. I take enthusiastic walks through the woods.
And kill homicidal vampire priests.
Very enthusiastic walks.
So that's your field report.
Yep.
Hold on. Well, you know what, guys? Honestly, subscribe to Takahata. Okay, he is hilarious. He's the one who actually does a lot of the voices. But it is a hilarious parody. But apparently, the Emperor, who doesn't realize he has no clothes, this man, the Lord of the world. And let's be honest. Let me show you who really owns the internet at this point. Okay, let me just show you who really owns the internet. This guy, Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping. Weird names, whatever. This guy, who looks like Winnie the Pooh after snorting crack, he is the one who runs the internet at this point, because Google is just bending straight over. Google is happily enforcing the same kind of disgusting policies of authoritarianism that are based in no facts, but are just made to make this guy happier at the expense of actual greater good. That's what happens, guys. That's what happens when you let communists into your life. Copyright is an outdated concept. And it's not something that most people even care about. And it's never going to be able to be policed. But you know what this does? Now, collection of the expertise... Might as well legal and economic studies have been conducted on the prediction, blah, blah, blah. The economic impacts of adapting, exemptions, limitations, and whatever. Impact assessments. Yeah, this is their own assessment of what's going to happen. This is what they want you to think will happen. Now, regulatory fitness and simplification. For the uses covered in the exemptions, the proposal will allow educational establishments. By the way, there are a lot of things that can be considered educational. That Helsing Ultimate clip I showed you, that could be educational, even though it's all parody and comedies. That could teach you editing. That could teach you parroting. That could teach you voice acting. That could teach you a lot of different things. They are talking about the old Prussian version of education, the one that's made to make us dumber and completely obedient. Education is an open-ended thing, you know. So, and by the way, isn't it interesting that Alex Jones got banned by a whole bunch of different companies all within an hour? But yet he talks about the news. I highly doubt he'd be exempt. Even though it is a difference of opinion that can educate you, at least into what conspiracy theorists believe, and at most, into what people don't want you to know about how our government works. I disagree with him on some points, but he is right sometimes. So just know that when they say educational, the language is vague for a reason. They don't want you to understand this all the way. Okay? Public interest research institutions. Public interest research institutions, of which they are going to have to register themselves, and then they'll be under government eyeballs, by the way. And cultural heritage institutions to reduce transaction costs. Now, let's think about this. Cultural heritage institutions. That's a very open-ended way of saying groups that have some kind of religious or cultural significance. Now, we have openly seen that hate crime laws exist in the United States and across the world. It's essentially a law that says if you commit a crime and you do it because of hateful reasons, you'll be punished worse. Or at least if we can say you did for hateful reasons. We've seen people in the United States who are white openly get attacked by black people, Hispanics, people of all races. But guess what group is not ever considered a group that's a victim of a hate crime? White people. This is a Latino telling you this, by the way. So if they try to say what I'm saying is racist, yeah, sure it is. No, it's just a fact. I can read FBI confirmed statistics that prove this to be 100% true. And if you don't believe me and you think I'm a conspiracy theorist, look it up. There's plenty of evidence. So when they say things like, cultural heritage institutions, right here, guys, right here. I want you to see this. I'm going to highlight it, okay? Cultural heritage institutions to reduce transaction costs. What they're saying is those who are approved shall not be policed. Notice how they're most likely going to make, like if this were to pass in America today, the Southern Poverty Law Center would qualify. But Identity Europa would not. Despite the fact that Europa has never said that they hate anyone of the opposite of a different race, they're a cultural heritage institution. By their definition, they are pro-European heritage. That's all it is. It's not anti-anybody else. It's pro-European heritage. That's what it is. And I guarantee you, they would be told that they do not qualify. Remember, the government, once you give them the power, they don't have to listen to you anymore. They enforce what they care about by force. This reduction of transaction costs does not necessarily mean that right holders would suffer a loss of income or licensed venues, the scope and conditions of the exemptions to ensure neighborhood rights, blah, 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 minimal harm. The impact on an SME in these fields, in particular, their scientific and educational publishers on their business models, should therefore be limited. Okay, so that word salad we're going to break down today. Okay, so now time to highlight the impact on SMEs in these fields. SMEs, we all know what that means. In particular, scientific and educational publishers. By the way, Bill Nye wants to jail science. Sorry, actually, no. He wants to jail climate change skeptics because climate change denier is not a thing. Okay? Nobody is saying climate change isn't happening. What they're saying is the rate at which it may or may not be happening, and the correct solutions to which are things we're skeptical of. Bill Nye is one of those people who says if you don't believe that things are happening the exact particular way, this nuanced situation, if you don't believe that this very nuanced and complex thing is happening exactly the way I say it is, you are a science denier. Orwell would be proud. And educational publishers, the ones they approve of, and on their business models should therefore be limited. In other words, your intellectual property should be limited. This is just outright disturbing, and it's not going to help. By the way, YouTube hates Article 13. I'm not even kidding. They know what's going to happen. YouTube, Suzanne, and I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Creators protest against Article 13 copyright law. YouTube amps up Article 13 with pop-ups torrents. This is literally YouTube openly saying Article 13 will not work. Bigotry implications. Sorry, budgetary. Oh, well, whoops. That was my fault. It'll have no impact on the European Union budget. Of course it wouldn't, because you guys are already overpaid as it is. Other elements has a monitoring and evaluation reporting arrangements. Now, here's the thing. Almost all content is not at all original to a certain degree. Almost all content has some rehashes of other content. It might be a mixture and might have something completely new. There is originality, but it does not ever come all by itself. Anything that is usually 100% original is oftentimes nothing important or interesting. So, with that being said, because this covers a ridiculous amount of different types of content that could be made, this is essentially censorship of quote-unquote copyrighted material. Think about that. Anything can be called copyrighted material. This whole plan is designed to say, if you put something on the internet, someone accuses you of having copyrighted material, you now have to prove that it wasn't. They don't have to prove a thing, they just have to claim it. By the way, I just want to make one more little okay, see, directive. Look at how fucking long this is. It's designed to be long and arduous and hard to read, because that keeps most people from taking the time to really understand exactly what's going on. Okay? Now, the reason why I wanted to show you guys this is because I wanted you guys to understand what exactly is going on here. What we're talking about. The European Union wants to punish YouTube every time someone makes a claim to the European Union that someone on their platform, original creators, by the way, made some kind of copyrights violation. That's what they want to do. I just want to make sure you understand that. That's what this is. The whole point of this is so that it is supposed to be open-ended. Copyright is such a outdated concept, and it's so open-ended. It's so Sorry, I just had to type to my friend. It's so open-ended. It is designed to be as ambiguous as possible, that what it's really designed to do is shut down political opposition. Because if they just outright said, we can censor hate speech and we can censor all free speech, anything we say hurts the state, immediately people get up in arms. But what they can do is they can say, well, this is copyright material. They can trump up the charges, force YouTube to shut down something immediately, because YouTube is not going to take the time to go after one person, 1,000 different people, who the EU says have put down copyrighted material, and find out whether they did or not. They already have a hard enough time to do that as it is, and then try to convince the EU for hours and hours in court that they didn't do nothing. No, that's not going to happen. In the meantime, the EU is just going to keep putting more and more charges on YouTube. Yeah, I literally think that YouTube should just pull out of Europe altogether and should just say, you know what? Yo, peace, I'm out, bro. Deuces, I'm done. And we're not pulling this bullshit. And just watch the EU come groveling back and begging them, saying, please, dear God, we need you. Like, I think that's honestly what they should do. I think that's what they should do. But the point I'm trying to make here is this. The EU will punish the platform for other creators for quote-unquote copyrights. And it could literally be the most original song ever. But as long as someone just makes this simple accusation, just the accusation of copyrighted material, YouTube will never put it back up. Whatever it might be, they'll never put it back up. They'll do whatever the EU says. So the EU can make as many false claims. They can literally hire employees to go around on YouTube, search something, click it, and then say, that's copyright material. It could be completely original, nothing but Alex Jones in a bra and his underwear, like a Speedo or something, and saying, the globalist, blah, 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 blah. And because YouTube will never go through the work to figure it out, and the constant litigation in court will be so stressful, it won't be worth doing, YouTube will just shut it down and not put it back on. And immediately, even though it might have nothing to do with censorship, it might have nothing to do with copyrighted material or anything like that, immediately, now it can't be on. So I just wanted you guys to understand what's going on. Now let's get into how to resist the EU, because this is... Orwellian doesn't even begin to describe what this is. It doesn't. And yes, I'm just seeing how many people are here. So far, how many people we got watching besides me? Started 48 minutes ago. That's literally me. Well, hey, I'm entertaining myself. I'll say that much. Sorry, I'm just going to tweet this out. Okay. I am live on YouTube. Okay. I can't spell YouTube right, but that's, yeah. That's bad. That's pretty damn bad if I can't spell YouTube correctly. Now, let's just get back there. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, now let's close this out. Here we go. Okay. Now, I wanted to show you guys some stuff that I think really will help you. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is, let's say you do get arrested, okay? Now, I'm going to talk to the people in Europe because I'm not sure how your legal system 100% works, but there is something that there's something I think you would really like to see. So, this guy is really good. But here, let me just pull it up on here. Just see. Okay. So I got a lot of videos downloaded that help me with my own just overall lifestyle improvement. So let's get straight to that. There we go. Okay. Now, survival. Here we go. This is where we really want to get to. Now, where did I put it? It's down here somewhere. These have a lot of videos I'm going to show you that I think you should definitely check out, but they'll also give you a lot of good hints. Oh, Jesus, where did I put? I'm so sorry, guys. This is not easy to watch. I understand. Should really get to what I was talking about here. Let me just hold on. Oh, God. You know what? Oh, Jesus, hold on. Yeah. Oh, so sorry, guys. Yeah, all right, I'll do this. Please don't tell me I was stupid enough to. Maybe I was. You know, I probably was. I probably at one point legit deleted it because I'm a genius. I am not just a genius, I am the genius. I'm telling you guys right now, the genius. I am the genius. Just saying. Okay, if I can't find it in a short period of time, I'll move on. But I swear, I know I have it here somewhere. Oh God, yeah, this is painful to watch, and yeah, this is pretty damn painful. Okay, you know what? No, one more time. It has to be here somewhere. Oh wait, it's right here. Here we go. Oh, God damn it.
Whether it's terrorism abroad or going from home to work, a good day can go bad at any given time. And what used to be the wrong place at the wrong time has quickly become any place at any time. So being prepared for worst case scenario becomes important. Kidnap.
And by the way, some of this is going to be things I think you should apply when abducted by the police for daring to be like Count Dankula and simply making a joke about a Nazi. And I thought it was hilarious. I wanted to take the most adorable thing that my girlfriend thinks and make him do something very not adorable. And I got locked up for making a joke. So yeah, this is how to resist.
Kidnapping and violent crimes being the worst. One deadly skill that you should know how to do is hide tools on your body that can allow you to escape a bad situation. The two most valuable tools to carry is a handcuff key and a razor blade. I recommend with the razor blades, you wrap it up in duct tape and you dog ear it in so that you can get to the blade. This also prevents you cutting yourself when you're trying to get to it. Razor blade will get you out of duct tape, rope, twine, or zip ties. Most people don't know, but one handcuff key can get you out of all handcuffs. They're all keyed the same. A great place to hide these is maybe the handcuff key in your right shoe and your razor blade in your left shoe. If your hands are bound together, whether it's in front or behind you, you can always slip down to your shoes to get to your tools. If you know you're going to a high-risk area where the potential of violent crime and kidnappings could occur, hide everything behind the bandage portion of a Band-Aid. Right behind there, the non-stick area, you could put a handcuff key and the razor blade, and then put it on your body in an area in which your hands can get to if they're bound together. You can also get a little more exotic and make a silicone scar of some sort, hide tools in the scar, and put the scar somewhere on your body. And the worst case scenario is if you get stripped down naked and they take your shoes and they take everything, you at least still have your tools on your body.
Now that's the one thing I really wanted to show you the most of. So that's how to get out of handcuffs, essentially. Now, let's say, I know this sounds ridiculous, guys, but at this point, these people are so authoritarian. We know they will put you in a cage for no good reason. So another thing I want to show you is if you really need to survive in the wilderness, here's one of the best ways to build a shelter. So like this.
So you're done goofed and you need to build yourself a primitive shelter that can withstand strong winds and rain. But
by the way, just want to say, this is from a guy whose YouTube name is Alfie Aesthetics. Definitely subscribe to him. He gives fantastic advice. There we go.
you don't have any cordage and no tools whatsoever. No axe, no knife. You're well and truly done goofed. Unless you build a lean-to A-frame hybrid, something which I call a leaner hut, a totally cordless construction that's as sturdy as a rock. Let's begin. First up, you'll need to find 2 trees spaced closely together. Shouldn't be too difficult. The distance between the trees will determine how wide you want your shelter to be. So if you want to keep your shelter small and snug, then find more closely spaced trees. The next step is to locate a strong living tree or sapling that's just a bit longer than the distance of your 2 chosen trees. You'll need to wedge it in between the 2 trees as tightly as possible. Everything you add to this shelter from now on will look to this tree for support. So it's got to be strong and it's got to be wedged in there like a good one. Either wedge it into the ground or wedge it into the base of the opposing tree. Just as long as it doesn't budge when you tug downwards on it, then it's good to go. Now we build the A-frame to give the structure some bilateral support. Find 2 more drawable trees and wedge them in between the main support beam and the ground. And if you can push on it hard without the entire thing collapsing, then it's good to go. Give yourself a pat on the back for your engineering skills. Test the structure as a whole by pulling on the main support beam to and fro. If it holds up, then you've got a solid construction. Just make sure each pole is rammed in hard like a one-night stand. Now the framework's nearly done, we just need to build the door. So find 2 sticks of the same width and length. And if they have the same curvature, then that's just an aesthetic bonus. Ram them in and make yourself a nice little entrance and exit, adding a strong stick at the back to keep it in place for the time being. Now we need to fill the voids, and that's the easy part. Lay deadfall of the appropriate length at a slight incline against the framework, starting from the sides of your door and working your way backwards. The reason we lay the logs at an angle as opposed to upright is so each individual piece of deadfall grants the adjacent piece of deadfall more of a hold on both the ground and the framework. So if the strong gale wants to blow one log off your shelter, it's going to have to blow with enough force to budge the whole lot. Not at all likely unless we're talking 90-mile-per-hour gusts, in which case you'll need to up your game and build a tornado shelter, which I'll cover in the coming weeks. Now we can begin to make this house a home by making it water resistant and insulating it. You may be familiar with the term debris hut, a shelter that's closed off with cascading layers of debris from the forest floor, leaves, twigs, pine needles, bark, all things which can be scraped into a big pile and stacked against the walls. As long as you're not afraid of breaking a nail, then this will take about 8 minutes. Easy peasy. The debris will be enough to keep the rain out, but to further insulate it and add more water resistance, and just to make it look a bit more inviting for the crack whores, you can add a layer of evergreen boughs. Overall, this shelter took me 35 minutes to build, including smoke breaks and fiddling about with a camera. The reason it was such a swift construction is because I invested some time beforehand to locate a patch of woodland that was host to an abundance of deadfall. It's all about that location. And there you go, you've got yourself a nice little man cave. Incredibly water resistant if you stack the debris all over it, and well insulated and further water resistant due to the conifer boughs. And to boot, there's plenty of room to stash your dead hookers, snug as a bug. Lay down some conifer boughs on the inside to give yourself some padding and insulation, or if you've made a raised bed, then wallow in the delight of the prospect of having a decent night's sleep in a natural shelter that will withstand the elements. Add a nice little fire in front of the door and it's GG well played. Make your house a home by adding a nice little fire reflector wall out in front. And if you're feeling particularly adventurous, a nice long fire to bombard you with heat. And just to demonstrate how structurally sound this shelter is, done. Easy peasy.
You can find all of his videos online, and I would recommend downloading them just because YouTube will censor it very, very fast. Download the video, whatever you do. By the way, Now I'm going to show you guys probably the best way to make a fire of all that I think really, because people just don't know how to make fires anymore. And it is sad. It's nothing against the people themselves. I'm just saying. But well, that's all right. I understand. That's my friend. He's just saying he can't join, which is unfortunate, but nevertheless, I understand. Let's just see how. Well, that's SO. Oh well. SO can't join us tonight, so that's unfortunate. Oh shit, that's the wrong thing. Hold on. Oh, there we go. That's better. That's a lot better. Okay, now. Okay. Now, the thing is, if say you feel like you're truly screwed, if you feel scared, like like oh no, oh shit, I gotta go into the forest, but it's raining. Let me show you what you can do.
Sup, fellas? I'm going to share with you my method of making the huge fires that you all seem to enjoy, and how to make.
By the way, I've tried it. Works really, really well.
Your fires last all night, especially in wet weather. Let's get cracking. Your biggest threat in wet weather fire making is the damp ground, but we can get over this hurdle by creating a dry wooden platform to build our fire upon. Gather some hardwood branches. Oak, maple and birch will do the trick. And the reason I recommend hardwoods for the platform is because hardwoods are a lot denser, therefore transform into smouldering black embers and charcoal over time, as opposed to the ashy charred wood that softwoods often create. Place 2 branches facing one way, then build a platform on top of that facing the other way. Not only does this keep the fire further off the ground, but it also allows more oxygen to enter the fire from below. Maximizing oxygen input is a fine detail that's required to aid in the combustion process. This platform over time will gradually begin to transform into those smouldering hot embers, and having a good base layer of hot embers will give you the constant source of heat throughout your fire that you'll need. Another great practice is to create a fire perimeter by laying your larger pieces of firewood onto the outskirts of your fire in a neat and orderly fashion. Your fire will gradually dry out these bigger branches while you build your fire up. This wooden perimeter also serves to bounce heat back into the fire, another fine detail. This construction will also allow you to add more pieces of large wood to the top of your fire in a neat and orderly fashion, as opposed to the traditional teepee fire build that's often prone to collapsing and smothering your fire. Once your fire is large enough, then these large pieces of firewood that have been exposed to the flame will burn down very quickly, and they'll leave behind more smouldering embers. Remember, smouldering embers are the key to making your fire last all night. Make this the aim of your game. Now for the materials. Wood that's been on the damp ground should be totally discarded. They will more often than not be completely soaked through. You should gather wood that's been hanging above the ground or on dead standing trees. For the larger pieces of wood, you should use the technique of batoning or battening, however you want to say it, to split them into smaller individual pieces to expose their dry inner core. Splitting them down into pieces about the width of pencils or sausages is a good practice, as these will take the flame with relative ease. It's worth investing some time into this. You could also utilize dead standing plants. Dead grass, dead leaves on trees, dead standing thistles, for example, are good for giving your fire the quick boost in the early stages, as they'll often not contain much moisture, but they'll dissipate any moisture they do have fairly quickly when exposed to an open flame. But there will always be some moisture contained within these materials. There's not a lot you can do about that, but what you have to do is forcefully evaporate all the remaining moisture from these small pieces of wood by using a fire fuel. Fire fuels also go by the name of kindling, but that depends on your definition of kindling, as it varies across the different sects of outdoorsmanship. A few examples of fire fuel are pine cones, birch bark, pine resin, and pine needles. These materials will burn well enough on their own, as they contain their own fuel source in the form of resinous oils. They'll generally burn even when wet, especially birch bark, so by the time they burn out, they would have evaporated all the moisture in your small twigs and pieces of wood, and those small twigs and pieces of wood will then be on fire. The fire fuel I'm using in this demonstration is pine resin. A good handful full of pine resin will emit such intense heat and flame that it will often ignite the materials within a matter of seconds. Another handy fire fuel is the fine shavings from the inside of twigs and branches. A big bundle of these fine wood shavings will give your fire the quick boost it needs, especially if birch bark or any other fire fuels aren't available. But a more common method is to use your knife to create fine shavings from the inside of twigs. This practice is referred to as making feather sticks. I like to create a secondary wooden platform out of smaller pieces of wood. These small sticks will burn down into a fine layer of embers, which will be enough to keep on igniting the fine materials you place onto it, gradually getting large enough to begin smouldering the primary wooden platform underneath it. Remember, creating embers is the name of the game. I can't emphasize this enough. So, time for the fire. Once those materials ignite, they'll burn down and turn the secondary wooden platform into embers. Those embers will then begin to smoulder the primary platform, eventually leaving you with a huge bed of red-hot embers and intense flame. From there, it's just a simple matter of placing more wood onto the fire, gradually increasing the size of the wood as your fire gets larger. The wooden perimeter recreated, as seen here, makes placing more firewood onto the fire much easier. It allows you to expose as much damp wood into the fire as possible, which just makes your life a lot easier. By the time these materials hit the fire, their moisture would have been evaporated, so here you can see the embers starting to form, eventually piercing the primary wooden platform. It's only a matter of time before we have our huge bed of embers. It's usually smooth sailing from here on out. If your fire ever starts to die down, then step number 1 is to introduce more oxygen into the fire, easily done by blowing into the base of your fire. Or if you've made a platform like this, blowing into the very base will spread the oxygen up and around, as opposed to on top of. Or just place very, very, very fine sticks onto the fire. These will be your saving grace when it comes to wet weather fire making, as they'll disperse their moisture very quickly and will begin to rekindle your fire. From then, your fire should be large enough and self-sufficient enough to be able to handle any damp matter that's thrown at it, thanks to the layer of hot embers you've created. GG, well played, Mother Nature. These embers will smoulder for hours and will quickly ignite any firewood that you place onto it. It's all about the fine details, maximizing heat, maximizing oxygen flow, and investing the time and effort in processing the materials. The main issue many people face is they can't be bothered to take the time and effort to gather dry materials, as shaving wood and betoning wood is a time-consuming process, but it is essential for wet weather fire making. An easy way to remember this method of fire building is to compare it to building a house. It's quite similar. Build the cement foundations, lay the brickwork, lay the carpet, build the roof, right? I think that's a cute little nursery rhyme that will help you remember. There's method to the madness. Often trying to improvise or wing your way through a fire is going to result in failure, but don't be disheartened. We all go through that phase of making shit fires, and making reliable good fires every single time is just a practice that you'll learn over time. Hope you found this video informative and helpful. Thanks for watching.
All right, guys, I wanted to make sure you understood that. Now, I want to talk about one last thing, okay? And then I'm going to end the stream because not a whole lot of people... Oh, God damn it. Not a whole lot of people are watching, unfortunately, but that's okay. And I thank all of you who have been watching tonight. And I don't hold any animosity to Donovan Warland, to the voluntary consumerist, to any of the people like Esoteric Entity, who I do think is a good friend of mine at this point, for not showing up tonight. In fact, it was my fault because I fell asleep and I had to move back the time from 5:30 to 7 o'clock, and I'm so sorry, guys. So if you guys are listening, I apologize. It was my fault that you guys couldn't come on tonight. So thank you anyway for saying that you want to come on. Well, anyway, this is the last thing I want to show you guys, okay? So here we go. Oh, God damn it. Now, this is a way of decentralizing the internet so much that even if the EU, and by the way, it's going to happen in January. Just want to let you guys know that. Even if the EU decides to pass Article 13, even if they decide to do that, guess what? If they do, this is a way of getting around it from a technical aspect. Okay? Here we go.
The internet as we know it is broken. Access to a fast, free, and open World Wide Web will soon be a memory. From the tired old protocols to the oligarchs who sell, meter, and spy on the bandwidth they supply to you, the current internet that we all rely on every day is far from working as intended. A global splinternet is forming. A balkanization of what was once an information superhighway for every citizen of this planet. The internet is broken, but there is a better way. Meet Skywire, the new internet for the new world. Skywire is the next evolution of a fair internet protocol and mesh network that runs natively on the telecom hardware backbone of the Skycoin blockchain platform. Skywire is composed of thousands of interconnected hardware nodes set up by everyday people around the world. These nodes are called SkyMiners. These nodes link together to encrypt and transmit internet traffic across borders and around the world, quickly, efficiently, and privately. Skywire has been built from the ground up to be the foundation of freedom in the future. Skywire is built and powered by people like you. As a node, you are paid for the resources you provide the network. As a user, you pay for the resources you consume, and only the resources you consume. Skywire is the next generation of internet technology, a truly free and global marketplace. Skywire runs on its own dedicated hardware devices. Cheap, readily available, and energy efficient, these hardware devices form the foundation of a mesh network built by and for the people, unlike anything seen before. This network is lightning fast, extremely resilient, and bypasses traditional ISPs. On Skywire, you are not a commodity. All traffic is encrypted. Your data stays yours. Individuals will finally be able to freely express themselves in a peer-to-peer network without fear of manipulation, bad actors, or fraudulent activity. Skywire is lightning fast, built on the latest protocols and technologies, and will serve as the foundation for the world's most critical services, like energy and financial services, and remain functioning even under the most catastrophic of conditions. We have built the future. Join us. Get connected, and let's take back our internet.
And I am going to be signing up for Skywire, and I hope you guys all do too. With that being said, there is only one thing I want to show you to end this whole thing on, okay? Here we go. I just want to show you this for a little bit of entertainment because, you know, it's Christmas time, and this is a great way to end Christmas. This is just a commercial, but it's very historically accurate.
Nine.
Er ist nicht bewaffnet! Nein, Otto!
My name is Jim.
Mein Name ist Otto.
Pleased to meet you, Otto.
Freut mich.
clothes she's got, and showing him. Okay. Happy Christmas. Frohe Weihnachten.
So, guys, I just, yeah, it's an ad, but, you know, there's so few ads nowadays that are that great, and I really wanted you guys to see that, because even though it's an advertisement, that really did happen. You know, the story is much more interesting. You guys should really read about it. But the Christmas truce, as you just saw, was where in World War I, two sides realized there was more that they were fighting for than their countries. In fact, they realized that the war was not something that either side understood or either side wanted to be a part of, that it was all the old man's war. It was all people who wanted to force these people to fight. That's who started it, but that the soldiers themselves didn't want any of it. And I guess it just shows that, you know, there is a lot of really, really dark shit in the world. Yeah, 90% of what we talk about here on YouTube when it comes to politics is that. It's literally that. 90% of what we talk about is dark, awful shit happening. But just knowing that in the middle of hell, that there were people willing to just put down their guns and literally opposite sides exchanging gifts because they both love Christmas. I just want you guys to remember that before I sign off tonight, because I want you to remember that there are really beautiful things in the world, regardless of what the world looks like now. There is beauty, and I think you just have to remind yourself that it's there. So thank you very much for watching. This has been Arcian, and yeah. Let me just get to it. Okay, stop screen sharing. This is Arcian, and I'm signing off. Merry Christmas, everybody.